Good day, Queenie Farmer. I figured I'd go ahead and just kind of do another video. I haven't spoke to you, or I haven't actually did a video response to you for quite some time here. I've been very busy with stuff, life, whatever the case may be. You know how it is, but pretty much there was a video that you made back in, I would have to say, maybe January or something like that, regarding where you were discussing the issue, and I guess you gave a brief analysis on the on your way of thinking on how men are not men anymore. I guess it was based on what someone else had said. It actually, I guess, kind of inspired you to do a video to kind of give your thoughts and everything on that, and that sort of thing. And which is good. I mean, like I say, but I think what happens is that all too often when you do videos like that, I think that it's actually kind of fair also to kind of interject a male point of view on there, because again, when you have videos, we already have videos where we have enough men beating up on women. But, and of course, you have a lot of videos also where women are, just, having other women respond to them. I mean, I'm pretty sure that anybody can respond to your post, but it's just the fact that I find it kind of, interesting that I really didn't see many men comment on your video. And I know you do have a lot of male subscribers as well, But I figured I actually go ahead and actually interject it, or actually put my, opinion and thoughts in it, which of course I know that you don't mind. But again, I think there was actually a comment that was actually left on your video thread there that I actually wanted to kind of examine and maybe go in a little bit in depth with. I mean, so what I'm going to do is that I really don't do this that much, but I'm going to actually go ahead and put my computer screen up there so I can actually scroll through and see, so I can actually let you see the comment that I'm talking about, okay? Hold for just a minute. I've taken the liberty to actually already go ahead and actually be logged into my YouTube account here, if you will. But I was actually going through, and there was actually, again, a comment that was actually made here. And this comment actually, I think, and I'm going to highlight it for you right here, I think really kind of really got my eyes and ears open pretty much for pretty much the whole thread on what you were talking about. I mean, I know you had like a lot of other people that were actually, looking and actually viewing your videos and such like that. But again, this comment here that was made by a Maximus Lyricus, I guess that's the name of the person, I pronounce it the best I can, and I'm going to read it for you. It says here, I learned through the school of hard knocks, and it took many years, that if a woman can make a man feel respected and needed, he will pretty much do her bidding. I have to be honest to say that I don't know why that is true, but it's my, but in my experience it is. And like I say, I think that pretty much for the most part is what I'm going to actually want to kind of focus this video on, with that particular video or that particular comment right there. Okay? What I'm learning here, and actually the trend that I'm seeing here, and I mean, and it's kind of funny that it actually has to be brought across or actually said this way, but the way it is that the men are going to react based on how the women act. And the reason why I say that is because if you notice with the comment that was made where she was saying that something where another alone, where if one gender puts it across to let the other gender know that they're needed and wanted and that such like that, then of course everything will actually follow in its place. The minute that you actually go and actually have one gender actually going about and actually saying derogatory things, then it's going to actually be like a snowball effect where it's going to actually cause the other gender to actually be on a natural defense. And when you actually have that sort of behavior that's going on, then you're going to actually have all of the rude comments and everything like that. Then you're going to actually, want to know what's going on, the reason why this, that, and the other, And like I say, that sort of thing. So for the most part, excuse me, because I'm actually looking at my phone as well, too. So I do apologize for that. But like I say, it's kind of funny though. I mean, when you get, like I say, with the comment that was made on there when she was, Maximus Lyrica said that if a woman can make a man feel respected and needed, he's going to pretty much return the favor. That's pretty much what she's saying. And for the most part, when the reason why we actually have, again, a downfall in the relationship between the black man and the black woman is because, again, one gender is speaking badly about the other. And of course, since the other gender doesn't want to actually look like a fool with egg on his face, he's going to turn around and return the favor. Which, I mean, neither action is actually good because you see that it's not really leading into anything that's positive. But you know, it all snowballs into the effect and actually ends up with the sentence, you know, with the thought process of, you know, which is the subject of the video, which is men are not men anymore. And I think, again, another reason why I think that we actually even have these type of videos actually coming to the surface is because, again, we as black folks, and I actually said it time and time again, we are learned and we can be conditioned through any type of means necessary. We can be transformed to be anything that society wants us to be, and we are actually able to, you know, and the things that society wants us to be is actually a joke, you know, and again, and we're actually fulfilling that, you know, that transformation, because everything that we see on television, you know, whether it be a black movie, you know, like, you know, and that sort of thing where, you know, you don't even have two black people playing like a role of husband and wife. You always have one role where either the woman is black or the man happens to be mixed, or it can actually be the other way around where the man is black and the woman happens to be anything but, you know, a, you know, quote unquote, you know, African American woman. But again, you know, kind of going back to the issue, you know, men are not men anymore. Again, we have to, and I'm going to actually have to go and I guess attack this straight on here. We have to actually examine and look at the reason why women are actually sitting up there saying that men are not men anymore. Again, as my previous statement, I think that it's because men are actually, again, not only, you know, the African American race, but mainly men, in the most part, they can actually be transformed to be whatever society wants them to be, just because, you know, just for the sake of actually wanting to, I guess, become famous, you know, to, you know, have their name out there in society or whatever the case may be. You know, one thing about it too is that men are not men anymore, according to black women, because, again, excuse me, I just lost my train of thought. Because for the most part, what I found and actually learned to actually be what I've learned and actually found to be true is that white women and black women actually have different perspectives on what they actually look for and how they actually approach and actually how they behave in a relationship. And like I said, I'm not saying that to actually bring one race down and prop another race up, but I'm just actually just going and just laying it out on the line. You know, when you're actually talking about the typical female, African American, black female, whatever you want to call it, there always has to be a lot of superficial stuff involved in a relationship, especially when it comes from, you know, her partner being a black man. When you're talking about a relationship, for the most part, and I'm talking about, and see, the relationship, and I'm speaking on the perspective of, you know, most black women. I'm not talking about the educated black women who actually knows what it takes to sustain a relationship. I'm talking about those who actually enter into a relationship blindly based on materialism. And you can't really help but go by that fact because that's all that you see on television. You know, but like I say, you know, and I think in another sense too, that really most professional black women should be actually outraged because of, you know, how they're actually being portrayed on television. Because again, they're being overshadowed with the stupidity of ignorant black women stating, you know, that they want to be in a relationship and this, that, and the other. But I digress. But white women and black women have two different viewpoints on what it means to be in a relationship and what it takes to maintain a relationship. And, you know, and you have most on-point brothers that are actually sitting there and they actually know what's going on and they are refusing to be played like a fool. Like I say, you know, for the most part, you have a lot of them, and here it goes back to the reason why you have a lot of as society says, 70% of black women being single. It's because, again, they are going into relationships and, you know, based on materialism. You know, how much money he has, you know, is he thugging, is he, you know, what type of car is he driving, this, that, and the other, overlooking the overall traits and qualities that's going to be required to maintain a decent relationship. You know, and then once these on-point brothers get tired of actually going through the same one, you know, same woman after woman after woman that has the same mentality, which is all about the material, he's going to pretty much, for the most part, dump, you know, and kind of move on to the other path, or the other side, if you will, because, you know, we don't want to be alone forever, so we have to find someone that kind of matches our goals and views in life. And, you know, in most cases, sad to say, it happens to be with someone who happens to be non-black. And then again, and when you see enough of these brothers going on to the other side, you know, then it makes the average black woman question, you know, okay, you know, what's going on? Never really taking into consideration and turning the light on themselves to really see the reason why, quote unquote, most good black men, as they say, good black men, are, you know, opting to either stay single or go and marry someone that happens to be non-black. And like I said, and then, you know, when you have it and it gets to the point where you see this being done quite often, then you have videos like these that are coming up, you know, where, you know, you're saying that men are not men anymore. Well, the question is, what type of man are you talking about? Because see, one thing about it is that you have all kinds of men that exist in today's society. Like I say, I think the men that you're talking about, you know, are the ones that you think that you can, and I'm not saying you personally, Queenie Fun, but I'm just saying generally for black women, the ones they're saying that men are not men anymore because they are choosing the ones who they will not be able to rule and outdo and manipulate. That's just my personal opinion. You know, see, one thing about it that I've learned too is that anytime an average black woman gets a fella, you know, and she's of course coming from, you know, where she's used to being in control, where she's used to running over the man, where he's used to spending all his money and treating him like a dog. When she finally meets someone who is not going to play those games and who's going to lay down his philosophies and things like that on the real, for the most part, they're going to sit there and say, okay, well, that's not a good black man. You know, he's a simp and all the type of stuff. He's too easy and stuff. I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that you thought that he was easy and that you couldn't outdo him or that you couldn't control him. So now, in order to mask that, to make it seem like you're still on top, you're going to sit there and say, you know, he's too easy. You know, I don't want anybody like that. I want somebody who, you know, I can, you know, who don't have to easily manipulate. And like I say, you know, it's just a big mask, I think, that's being placed on. And see, one thing about it, again, it's unfair that, you know, and there's nothing that can be done. I mean, men post videos about black women all day here on YouTube. And like I said, you got black women that post videos about men all day on YouTube. And I think it's fair that you get a balanced reaction or a balanced comment. You know, you have a lot of women that posted on there. So I figured that, you know, why not, you know, get a male, you know, point of view from this too. I know I'm a bit late to this, but because this video looks like it was posted back in January. But, you know, and another issue that I want to bring, you know, forth too, you know, men are not men anymore. Well, the reason why they're not men anymore is because they're tired of actually being played for like a fool. And like I say, and I say this, and I say it because of this. You have genuine men that will actually go and actually, you know, take it to the extreme to be chivalrous to a woman. And when he does this, you know, she takes him to be weak, a simp, and everything else like that. And she go back and tell her girlfriends how easy it was for her to get him to spend all these big type of monies and all the type of diamond rings and all this other type of stuff. This fella here thinking that he's getting ready to really start something serious, and all it is on her part is a game. And see, one thing about it, again, is that when the truth comes out, the fella is the one that actually ends up with his heart being broken, while the only thing she's going to go back, you know, in her corner and laugh at him after she's gotten what she wants, and she's going to clown him, saying how stupid he was and that he should have realized that he was being played. And then when you step and try to bring that same game over to someone else to try to use the next man like a fool, he's going to already know what it's all about, because for the most part, he done been through a lot of other women that dated women that had that same philosophy, and now he's going to be on his game. He's ready to deal with it. So what he's going to do, he's going to use her just like she thinks she's using him. And then on her side, when after she's being used, then she's going to come away wanting to play the victim and saying, where are the real men? Well, I think you ran the real men away. So now what we're dealing with now is a society full of players. On both sides. Men playing women and women playing men. I'm only keeping it in the black perspective. Like I say, you can only be polite only for so long until, you know, the mask come off, and then when you're tired of being used, you know, then you start to get with it and see what it's all about. And next thing you know, okay, so since she thinks she's going to be getting over on me, guess what? I'm getting over on her. And guess what? He's going to be doing the same thing in the corner with his fellas that she's going to be doing with her girlfriends, whispering on how much he can get out of her or how much she can get out of him. And next thing you know, they're both playing each other. And if you think about it, neither one should actually be complaining, because, like I say, they're both running game on each other. And I think I think that is a very good analysis. I think that is the best one that I've done in quite some time. Because again, that is the state of what's going on now. A lot of women are asking, where are the good black men? And I'll give you the short answer. You ran them away. You ran them away. You have a lot of good men out there that want to do the right thing, that wants to step up and, you know, handle their responsibility. If they got children, they want to handle them, you know, for the most part, you know, whether it be through child support, you know, whatever the case may be. But see, one thing about it is that when you begin to play all of these games, and I'm not saying that all women play these games, but the average black woman, like I say, especially if for some reason you have more ignorant ones these days than you have those that actually are operating with a common sense. When you run across enough of these, next thing you know, the black man is going to throw away that decent, orderly behavior card, and he's going to go ahead and get on her level. And I'm not saying that it's right, but hey, you can only get tired of being used only for so long. Then, the gloves are going to come off and they're both going to get ugly. And then in the end, one of them is going to be crying victim. And as we've seen it, all too often these days, the woman is the one that's going to be crying victim. He cheated on me, he did this, that, and the other, whatever. And next thing you know, silently, within your heart, you've been doing the same thing with this fella. So like I say, I hate, when you have a lot of, black women, claiming and, with all these allegations that men are not men anymore. Well, they're here. It's just that you're not looking deep enough for the ones that have quality. See, you're looking for the ones that you can actually handle and control and, pull the card over their face saying that I run the bills, I control this, that, and the other. So when you get tired of them, you can throw that over them so they got to go about their merry way. But see, when you step to someone that actually got a little bit going for himself, educated, know how to keep up with what's going on with the trends of relationships, and knows how to conduct and carry himself, and knows how to engage in a conversation, and knows how to turn around and handle business, both inside the house and outside the house and in a relationship, I think most black women, they're threatened. Like I say, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. And what they do is they try to play all of these different games and everything like this. And for the most part, these decent black men, most of us, we're not having it anymore. We're done with it for the most part. And like I say, and if you do find one that is really wanting to get to know you, you better thank God for him and try to, get to know much about him as possible. And like I say, if possible, try to develop a meaningful relationship with him, because like I say, these days they're few and far between. Like I say, you do have some men, out there that give us black men a bad name. Those who are, play games as well. I'm not leaving them out because you have a lot of them. But for the most part, like I say, when you have like black, and like I say, I don't ever see a black man asking where are all the good women. I mean, if they are, I don't see that many of those type of videos being posted on YouTube. The only thing that we see on these days is pretty much the woman she's asking the YouTube community, or the world for that matter, where are all the good black men? Like I say, and like I say, I hate that word or that phrase, good black men, because it is so subjective. It really doesn't paint the picture of, and it leaves out the fact that any man actually has the capability of being good. But see, one thing about it is the reason why we actually have these type of videos is because, again, we're trying to define what your definition of good is. And again, for most black women, their definitions of good is so materialistic and superficial. That's the reason why a lot of these black men, when they go on dates with these black women, for the most part, they sit there, they already know for the most part, they're not really expecting much out of the date. All they're looking for is a good time, whether it be a roll in the hay, or just good conversation, because they know for the most part, they're not going to go ahead and put all of their best out on the first date, because they want to see what you're all about. So for the most part, and that goes back to what I said in the beginning, the women set the trend on how these relationships go, for the most part. See, one thing about it, like she said, Mystic, that lady whoever that was that posted, when a woman makes a man feel that he's respected, the man is going to turn around and follow that and turn around and give that goodness back to her. So really, in my opinion, yes, the woman sets the trend on this. So if she want to set off, a relationship where she's being manipulative, backstabbing, going back telling her girlfriends, I can get him to do this, that, and the other, sooner or later, down where he's going to catch wind of that. And he's going to know, and he's going to respond accordingly. And one thing about it, I'm going to tell you something too. Like I say, most men, they are not going to sit there and cut off a relationship, especially if they know that they're being used, unless they get you back before the whole thing is done. And it could be through money, sex, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter, because that's just how low we as black people have become, and how, hateful and downright disrespectful we've learned to become towards one another. It's a shame, but you know what? It's real. Like I say, that's a good video that you did. I mean, and it's very insightful. And it actually, adds to a lot of stuff, that's going on. But like I say, I feel that, I think that you really need a male perspective as well. Because like I say, I don't think that it's, right for, because like I say, when you have a bunch of women congregating together, of course, they're going to say things, you know, for the most part, you know, and you all are going to be on your own general consensus about this thing. So I figured that, you know, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful because, you know, I'm not that way. But I just figured that I put my 2 cents in there to kind of let you know, from at least from my standpoint, how I view the situation. So, you know, hope to hear from you soon, and I'll still listen to your videos. Stay blessed and stay strong.